Ever since I was a little kid, I've always had a love for Legos. I would spend hours out of each day building Legos. And while I was in elementary school, my love for math began. Naturally, as time went on, I began to develop a deep love for science as well. At this time, I was fascinated by building things and seeing what I can create. But it wasn't until I saw a TED Talks entitled "A Prosthetic Arm That Feels" that I knew what I wanted to do.
And he did okay by our standards. He also required a revision surgery on his chest, and that gave us the opportunity to do targeted reinnervation. So my colleague, Dr. Greg Dumanian, did the surgery. First we cut away the nerve to his own muscle. Then we took the arm nerves and just kind of had him shift down onto his chest and closed him up. And after about 3 months, the nerves grew in a little bit and we could get a twitch. And after 6 months, the nerves grew in well and you could see strong contractions. And this is what it looks like. This is what happens when Jesse thinks open and close his hand, or bend or straighten your elbow. You can see the movements on his chest, and those little hash marks are where we put our antennas or electrodes. And I challenge anybody in the room to make their chest go like this. His brain is thinking about his arm. He's not learned how to do this with the chest. There is not a learning process. That's why it's intuitive. So here's Jesse in our first little test with him. On the left-hand side, you see his original prosthesis, and he's using those switches to move little blocks from one box to the other. Had that arm for about 20 months, so he's pretty good with it. On the right side, 2 months after we fit him with his targeted reinnervation prosthesis, which, by the way, is the same physical arm, just programmed a little different, you can see that he's much faster and much smoother as he moves these little blocks. And we're only able to use 3 of the signals at this time. Then
I was struck and in awe about the amazing world of prosthetics. I entered science fair my sophomore and junior year with a prosthetic-related project. I placed with both of them. Throughout the process of those projects, I kept in touch with Brent Ramharder, the manager at the Eastside Hanger Clinic. So when the time came to begin senior project, I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, Hanger Clinic. I called up Brent and asked for an internship. He happily agreed. That kicked off an amazing experience where I began to work in a prosthetics fabrication lab as a prosthetics technician. The lab consists of multiple rooms that each serve a purpose in the construction of a prosthesis. The main room has all the workbenches. There is a room for grinding, plaster, pulling plastic, and laminating. I also met some great and humorous guys, Tracy, Mariano, and Pete, all of whom I would work with. Working under Tracy, I started to learn the ropes. It was not easy and not simple by any means. I was learning how to pull a check socket, which consists of heating up large pieces of plastic and then vacuum sectioning them around the mold. I was nervous and getting things wrong, but I hung in there and did my best to learn. After a month or two, I understood quite a bit of the process and was able to start working and doing things on my own. I've had the pleasure of working upon dozens and dozens and dozens of prosthetics. Some just being a touch-up, where I've helped real quick, and some being where I have seen them through to the end, going through all of the stages. I've done modifications to the molds, pulling of the check socket, lamination, and the grinding and the shaping of the lamination. These are no simple tasks and often take a lot of memorization and understanding due to the complexity and the uniqueness of each prosthesis. But the true painstaking task is the constant waiting. Many things in the fabrication process require a lot of waiting. Things cure, take time to heat up just right, or need time to harden. A lamination takes about an hour to harden and undergoes a vacuum suction. This is where we pour the resin around a carbon fiber frame and wait for the resin to harden in order to create a shell. But once that is all well and done, I continue the work and make whatever I need to. Once I got good enough and I was able to be more self-proficient, doing molds and modifications without instruction, Brent came to me with a challenge. Evaluate and create a prosthesis for my coworker, Mark. Since I had been working as prosthetics tech, I knew very little about the evaluation process. However, that did not stop me and I rose to the challenge. It was awkward and difficult at times, but the evaluation got completed and I started to make the transfemoral socket. The process took a few weeks, starting with the mold, then making modifications to the mold, creating a check socket, testing the check socket, making even more modifications, and then repeating. But I finally got it to fit Mark.
This is Mark walking in Johnny's check socket. Seems to be comfortable. Our heights may be a little off, but that's something we can kind of optimize on delivery. He's holding good suction. He's comfortable. He's in a C-leg, which is a microprocessor knee, and it's designed to track and monitor each step to optimize functionality and safety.
Since then, I have continued to work at Hanger and have completed over 100 hours. I'm so incredibly grateful to Brent for allowing me to have this truly phenomenal experience. It has been quite fun getting to know the guys at Hanger and getting to work with them as well. I have learned an abundance of information while working here, and have felt a sense of reward in knowing that I'm helping amputees have a prosthesis that allows them to possibly walk again. I cannot imagine a better feeling and have been blessed in order to live this dream of mine. Without my curiosity to build things, starting with Legos, and my attendance at Amy Beale, I would never have ended up where I am now. Thank you to all of those who support me through this process and help me get to where I wanted to go, which is ultimately back to the lab.